Hello, everyone. This is Southern Belle Whisper. I hope you all are doing well today. This is a request from my niece because I have had a shit of a week. And I decided today that I just wanted just a little bit of alcohol to kind of calm me down and make me relaxed. I don't usually drink. I told you guys I'm a recreational. No, it's not even recreational. It's like once a month type of thing. And it's usually only when I've had a very bad week. So I'm a little tipsy right now. And my niece was like, you should do a video. So I thought, why not? If I'm going to lose subscribers because you guys think I'm a raging drunk, or people say, oh, poor thing, she's done taking up drinking since she broke up with her ex. No, that's not the reason. He is one of the reasons why I had a bad week, though. You guys will be so ashamed of me. I just thought I could be his friend again. He contacted me on one of his other Facebooks, and I thought, well, maybe we can be friends, be cordial to each other. In my head, I was like, we were together 10 years, so it's kind of hard to just throw all that away. And he asked me to stop talking about him in my videos. And he also mentioned that he was hanging out with a friend the last month, I think he said. Just pretty much everything that he knew would hurt me, no matter if I wanted to be with him or not. So he just kept on keeping on, just talking about the girl and how she could be the one if I didn't want to be the one, and he still loved me, but he's trying to move on, so let me give him the green light so he can move on. Move the fuck on. Okay, I'm sorry for the F word, but go. Please go. So that just put me in a really bad mood because no matter what, it hurts. We've been broken up 5 months, and he's already hanging out with another girl. It kind of makes you feel like shit. This video is probably going to have a lot of cussing in it. Okay, I'm going to stop. But he is a part of my story. So if I want to mention him in any of my videos, I damn well can. So he ain't going to stop me from doing that because he is part of my healing story and my journey. So yeah, that day was really bad. I think I talked to him for 2 days. And I just got in such a dark place, and it started to make me think, Kelly, you're putting yourself exactly in that place you were at when you were with him. And then I talked to some friends, and they all said, girl, what the hell they're all saying, girl, what the heck are you thinking? They all said, he don't deserve you. He is nothing but the dog poo on your shoe. Just block him and let him go. So that's what I did. I blocked him again. Thought I could be friends with him, but no. Wasn't what happened. But that's alright. I got plenty of friends that love me. So, I don't need any more friends anyways. So that's not what this video is about. I have decided to do a what I've read this month because I've realized when I drink or when I smoke, I become more honest about certain things. And I'm going to give you my full, honest opinion on all these books. And if you don't agree, that's fine. That's totally fine. And if you agree, great. So, okay. You guys know how much I love my Kindle. I don't have to tell you guys over and over. I love it. I got some new stickers for it. This one just came the other day. It has Simba from The Lion King. It says, remember who you are. I love that. The Lion King is my favorite Disney film. So, let's see what we read this month. I know the first. Oh, it's 222 right now. That's my angel number. How about that? Um, I know the first book that I read of the month was a reread, and that was The Court of Wings and Ruin. Um, it's my least favorite out of the whole series of The Court of Thorns and Roses. It's the third book. Yeah, it's the third book, and it's my least favorite. I still love that series, and then the woman I told you guys about that sends me my ebook, she was like, why are you rereading something and you have a whole library of new books? And I was like, you know what, you're right. I'm going to take a break from rereading The Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm going to read other books, standalone books mostly. So, The Court of Wings and Ruin, I'd give it 3.5 stars. It's just my least favorite. It's just a whole bunch of, getting the armies ready and, going places. I mean, it's still really good, and the ending is the best part. But it's not my favorite. But I still love the whole series. It has a place in my heart. Oh, by the way, I bought a new necklace today. I think I've mentioned to you guys I love necklaces on longer chains, and this one, a sweet lady was selling it on one of those vegetable produce stands. Her and her husband were selling this, and I love skulls that are decorated like this. My mom thought it was, she was like, ain't it something to do with Satan? I was like, no. And she's like, oh, okay, then I love it. But, okay. So the next book that I read was I'm Glad My Mom Died. Now, my niece is the one that grew up on, like, Zoe and iCarly. So she knows more about, who is it again? Jeanette McCurdy than I do. But I was really interested in reading her book anyways, because I've heard so many great things about it. Just what I can say about this book is make sure you're in the right headspace, because it is very deep. It's dark in places. It talks about mental diseases. It talks about physical, like anorexia, bulimia, depression, anxiety, all of it. You really had to be in the right headspace for this one. It was really good, though. Like the title, I hadn't read it because the title kind of turned me off a little bit, but I get it. I get it. Her mom, man. Oh my gosh. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but by the end of the book, you're like, yeah, I agree with you. I'm glad your mom died too. But it's just her story and what she dealt with fame and her personal life and the life she shared with her parents. Just a typical memoir. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. For a memoir, it was actually really good, and it had me very interested where I never got bored. And I was reading it continuously, trying to finish it because your girl has to know what happens. And if I get really into a book, I need to know what happens immediately. That's what happened with me in The Court of Thorns and Roses. I had that series read, the whole series, within 2 months. Like, that's why I was rereading it. And I actually realized I missed stuff by reading it so quickly. But this book I read really quickly. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. For a memoir, it was really good. Okay, the second book I read was The Women, right? Let me just make sure. Yeah, the second book I read was The Women by Christina Hanna, because that lady, who we're actually friends on Facebook now, she told me, she said, I'm reading The Women right now and you have to read it. And I am a big fan of Christina Hanna. She is probably my favorite author when it comes to historical fiction. You just learn so much about certain things that went on in the world. Like with this, the main woman, Frankie, is a nurse during the Vietnam War, but it's during the 60s. So every time she says, I was in the Vietnam War, I saw people get it, their legs blown off and their arms blown off, or PTSD or whatever, and people would tell her, you were in the Vietnam War, you didn't fight. And so this whole book, it was just about women who fought by being nurses and seeing everything that went on and helping the soldiers to get better, whatever it is that's going on with them. They come home and people are like, you didn't fight in the Vietnam War, what are you talking about? And it made me so sad that I live in a world like that, because I see it happening every single day. It really opened my eyes to just the craziness that goes on. And I just had no idea. I had no idea. Christine Hanna, she does so much research before she writes these books. And you can tell this woman writes. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Now, this is why everybody else was giving it a 5-star review. The reason I only gave it 4 stars is I really didn't like the main woman, Frankie. I did not like her. And, I respected her. She was a nurse. She helped people, but I couldn't stand her. And I know why. It's, she just puts herself out there too much. There's a little romance, in the book. And she just puts herself out there for these people that don't give a damn about her. And it really made me mad. But it was also very relatable. Because that's something I had to deal with when I got here, was not putting myself out there so much for the people that don't care about me. And, but it was still an amazing book. Like I said, Christine Hanna writes historical fiction like no author that I know. So, 4 out of 5 stars for The Women by Christine Hanna. Okay, the next one I read, this one was a light read. After reading the Jeanette McCarty memoir and then reading The Women, I was like, I gotta read something that's lighthearted. And I read, hold on, let me see who the author is. Mary Jane by Jessica Anna Bew. I loved this book. I gave this book 5 stars. It's crazy, but this was set during the 70s when, segregation, civil rights was going on. And I loved it so much. It was so good. At first, the first few chapters, I was like, this book is written by, the protagonist is 14 years old. I'm not going to relate to this. But oh man, it was so good. Pretty much it's about a babysitter. It's the summer. She wants to get a summer job. And she starts babysitting this 5-year-old. Her name is Izzy. Oh, she's so cute. And she just babysits for this family that is the total opposite of her family. They don't go by the rules. They do what they want. But they're fun and they're carefree, and she is not used to that. She is used to having a mom and dad that are just uptight, sticks up their butt type people. And so she just learns so much during that summer at such a trivial time in her life too. She's 14. So she just learns so much that summer about not letting people control who she is. She finds herself, I'm guessing, and then the whole family is just so funny. It's so funny. There's Mr. and Mrs. Cone. They're the parents of Izzy. And then they also take in a movie star, fictional movie star, and her addict husband. Their names are Sheba and Jimmy. Sheba is my favorite. I love her. I mean, they really make it seem like she's an actress. And they actually mention real movies and music. It's filled with music and movie. I'm trying to think what. They just mention music and movies that were released during the 60s. And I love that because my mom instilled in me a love of every type of music and movies. So, it was just so good. So good. And it really makes you realize a lot. Kind of like the women, but more upbeat. Mary Jane is. It's just, it was probably my only 5-star review for the month of April, because it was just, your girl. I loved it. And then I picked up Small Great Things by Joey Picoult. I loved Joey Picoult growing up. When I was a teenager, I read all her books, and I love her as a writer. And when I picked this book up, I remember starting it, but I read it all, and I finished it, and it talked a lot again about, and this was me going in blind, like I had no clue what these books were about, not really, but it just talks about a labor and delivery nurse. Her name is Ruth, and she is African American, and this couple, they are white supremacists, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, so I'm not going to say what happened. You gotta pick up this book. I think Joey Picoult is the only author where I enjoy where it's other people points of views. She is so good at that. Like, I thought I'd get confused at first because it goes between Ruth and the husband, white supremacist. His name is Turk, and the Kennedy. I'm not going to say who she is because I don't want to ruin it. It just really opens your eyes. Like, I know the lady that gives me my ebook, she told me, she said, I love books that change you. And it really, these 3 books, Mary Jane, The Women, and Small Great Things, talk so much about racism and segregation and civil rights. And it makes me so sad because we are going through that today. Like right now, we're going through the same things. Nothing's changed. Like everybody says, you know, maybe the world would get better one day. No, it won't. It's still going on. And it makes me so sad. It really does. Like, you know, my best friend when I was 5 years old, her name was Mariah, and she was African American. And she was one of the best friends I ever had. And I knew people at a store that would like look at us when we were going in and buying Barbie dolls or whatever. And they do like a double take, like, oh my gosh, you know. And I was like, what? You know? What's wrong with a white little girl hanging out with an African American? Like, you know, what's wrong with that? And that's what these books are about. But it really opens my eyes to how screwed up the world is. But it's okay. The only thing I can do is try to change it. And I do. I do try. I do by the work that I do as a caregiver, by what I read and what I write, because I've been writing a lot, and just try to change everything for the better. No matter how small it is, you can always do something to change the world. So, if we had more people like that, our world would probably be a better place. So, sorry. I went on kind of a tangent right there. I'm sorry. Okay, the last book, I just finished this one today. And that is, oh, by the way, I gave Small Great Things 4.5 stars. So good. Okay, so the last book that I read actually just came out recently. Emily Henry is my guilty pleasure. I love all her books. I've never read a book by her that I didn't love. She just knows how to write rom-coms. But this one, I think, is my favorite. And she has written like 5 or 6 books. And I think out of all her books, this one was my favorite. It's called Funny People by Emily Henry, of course. It kind of reminded me of Shania Twain, the story, how it goes. Because if you didn't know Shania Twain, her goofy-ass husband cheated on her with her best friend. And then Shania Twain ended up marrying the way hotter, more kinder, caring ex-husband of her best friend. So that is kind of the premise of this book. Miles and, my goodness, what is the... Daphne. Daphne is the main character. She just got, you learn this in the first few pages, and probably it's on the back of the book, probably. She is broken up with, on her wedding rehearsal night, by her soon-to-be husband. And he tells her that his best friend, whose name is Petra, confessed that she was in love with him, and that he realized he loved her too. So he leaves Daphne, and I love Daphne. She is a librarian. And, okay, so, but we'll get to that. Peter is the soon-to-be husband's name, the Peter Dick, pretty much, yeah. He leaves her for his best friend. And then Miles is the ex-boyfriend of the best friend. Are you guys following? So Peter pretty much tells her, okay, well, you can't stay in the house. You gotta go somewhere else and live. And she and Miles end up being roommates. And it's predictable. Yes. Yes, it is predictable. But for one thing, I love Miles. Absolutely love him. I love his personality. I love that he's kind of a little bit of a bad boy with a history. And your girl has another crush on a fictional man. You know, that'd be a great top 10. My fictional men crushes. That's actually a good idea. Anyways, I'm a big fan of Miles. And I love that, I don't want to ruin anything because I know it just came out and you guys probably haven't read it yet. The banter between Daphne and Miles. Like, I love that banter where it's so freaking. This book had me laughing out loud until 11 p.m. last night. I'm sure my mom was wondering why I was laughing so hard, but it seems Emily Henry, when it comes to rom-coms, like my favorite rom-com of all time is by Christine Lauren, and that is The Honeymooners. Love that book. But funny people. What I loved about it is Daphne is a librarian, and she really looks down on herself. Like, you know, Petra was, of course, the tall, beautiful, willowy, hair blowing in the wind, perfect woman to Daphne. But she just looks down on herself, even though she is so caring. She does story hour as a librarian. She does the voices of the characters in the books that she reads to all these kids. And she just has such a passion for libraries and books. And I resonated so much with her. But she has trust issues. And she looks down on herself a little bit too much. But by the end of the book, like, I don't want to ruin it, so I don't want to say too much. I also love a book where you fall in love with every character. And this is how this book was. I fell in love with, except for Peter and Petra, of course, they can go to hell. I'm talking about her friend. She ends up being friends with a woman that she never thought she would be friends with if she stayed with her ex. Her name is Ashley. I'm a big fan of her. And then you meet Miles' sister Julia, who I love as well. I promise there isn't. I don't know why the lighting in this room makes it seem like there's something like right there, but there's not. And then there's people from the library. And just, I read it so quick too. I read it in 2 days. Yeah. It was just so good. And you think after everything I've been through that I would hate rom-coms, but they are my guilty pleasure. Like I say, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me one day. That is. But, you know, your girl is just focused. I'm just focused on myself right now. Because I've never really learned to love myself. Like, all my life, I've put myself down. And that's why I relate so much to Daphne, is she feels like she doesn't deserve love. That she doesn't deserve real, good friends that will stick by her through thick and thin. That's why I am so grateful for my niece and my two best friends, Danielle. Hi, Danielle. and Caleb and Hayden, they're probably watching this video. I love you guys. And my best friend Alexis and my family. Lilo and Stitch is right. You know, there's nothing more important than family. But, so that is all the books I read for the month of April. I think I did pretty darn good, actually. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Wow, it's already 30 minutes. Wow. I know I meant to do more tapping. I'm sorry. I promise. Probably tomorrow when I do my top 10, I'll do a little bit more tapping. But I love you guys, and I thank you for being here and watching my videos. And I will be talking to you tomorrow.